And that's what we want, just simple, good government, right? That's it.
That's it.
Good government.
But yeah,
That's a lot to ask for, though, in Camden County.
Ray also followed up with a great question, and we'll lead with Ray's question here and then talk about it.
So I believe I heard you state that in the portion of property tax, 31%, we're up to 31% is the township slice of that pie. What's the school's slice of that pie right now? Do you know offhand?
I couldn't remember.
It's greater than 31%,
Yeah,
correct?
probably 54.
Okay.
So,
So-
50, okay.
All right. So in the township's generosity to hand out tax abatements to any and all people to come here, because basically you've labeled the township as a whole in need of rehabilitation, which makes us sound like we're not an up-and-coming or well-built town if we're in need of rehabilitation throughout the town. But abatements are handed out pretty well. There's 2 Wawas coming about. I'm sure they'll be asking for abatements now. Blackwood Clemington Road, I know we've been trying to build that up. I understand that. The one in Ariel, however, they wanted that spot in the worst way and got it. I'm not seeing a reason for a tax abatement. And I'll remind you that when Royal Farms came here on Blackwood Clemington Road, before it's been built the way that it is, they didn't ask for it nor receive. Now, of course, you're going to say that's on them, but if we're giving them away on a prime piece of real estate like we are in Ariel, a $1 billion company, I don't think they need that. But people forget, you just described what the piece of the pie is, and that tax abatement, they're going to be making payments for 5 years. And our children's schools are not going to get anything for 5 years, am I correct?
It all goes to the township.
So yeah, you hear us talk a lot about tax abatements and pilot programs, and that's essentially what happens.
I don't think people understand it well enough to have it actually get them motivated or angry enough to care. Like that, it's not going to our schools. It's going to just to our municipal government, not
so
to the schools.
it's a reduced rate that just goes towards the municipality, not the schools. So
not the fire, not the county, nothing. It's just there. It's
so you hear a lot of people talk about how much the schools cost us, and then so far in the last 2 years, I know that they haven't had any increases.
right.
But when it comes down to it, and if there is a need for money, that's where that money could come from. And it doesn't, because the entire town, if you build, you're eligible.
Mm-hmm.
And some companies, like you mentioned, Royal Farms, didn't ask for it.
Yeah, Royal Farms didn't ask for it, but Wawa's going to ask for it, like you said.
Yeah.
And do they necessarily need it? No, they're building it on a prime piece of real estate. So the whole town being a area in need of rehabilitation or whatever the designation was called, it hurts us. And we've gone over this. I don't know how many times in the past where this has been true since the 70s or something, where they redid this.
Yeah,
in this town and designated that.
It was in the 80s he was talking about, but I think it goes back longer than that.
Yeah, and it hurts our schools. And then for them to sit there and say, like, oh, yeah, well, the school is 54% of our budget, and we're only 31%. Well, obviously, none of the money that goes from all these abatements is going to the schools, so they have to get it from the residents because you're allowing them to not get it, and it's just a whole, I mean, it's for teachers, salaries. It's for, the students, busing, everything that goes with, along with a school doesn't get a penny when we give out a tax abatement.
And these things could be shaped. Like these abatements are not a yes or no thing. These can be shaped. Now, right now in the situation that we're in, there are no limitations. If you build in this township, you are eligible.
Right.
And, one of the things that was brought up before was we should use abatements to steer companies towards areas of the township that need it.
Right. It's not just the entire township. There are pieces, like you said, like that are yes, we definitely would like to attract, and in using their terms, use this as a marketing tool to get a company to come in and build and develop a somewhat undesirable piece of property to help be the tipping point to help maybe draw other things in later on. That's why you give a tax abatement.
Yeah.
Not because you're over here on Hollywood and Vine. Guess what? Tax abatement for you, and over here on, whatever. It's the same thing. Where are you going to go? You're going to go to Hollywood and Vine. You're not going over to,
Yeah, I mean, you get the same abatement whether you build in the parking lot in front of Lowe's as you would as if you were on Blackwood Clementon Road or downtown Blackwood.
Right.
So it's the same abatement over there, where it should be the areas that don't need the traffic anymore. The outlets, the front of Lowe's and all that.
Right.
They don't need it. We shouldn't offer them there. We should offer it for the places that need it. And then we can also shape it to where certain companies, certain size companies.
You know what that would do, though, Joe? It would take away power. And they are never going to give up any power. If they were to unclassify the entire town as an area in need of rehabilitation or whatever it's called, that would then say, you know what, we're just going to give away some of our power, and that's what it was not going to ever happen.
There was a study a long time ago on abatements and how bad they're using it. It was called the. If you go to restoregT.com, under tax information, there is a tax abatement report.
Yeah,
it's a good report from a long time ago. They brought it up in the council meetings. The Boxer report, they brought it up, but it was kind of the misuse of tax abatements. And I mean, you can really shape these things. You could shape it so that you're giving abatements to small businesses, but you're not giving abatements to corporations. You could really shape these things so that they benefit the township and they benefit the small business as opposed to the big corporations. Wawa came in and bought several houses and tore them down. That's how bad they wanted that area. Mm-hmm. They did not need an abatement.
No.
So, but they got one. So, I don't know. It's just,
it's because you can't not give it to them because of the designation that you have the entire town in. So because you can't give it to them now, if you say no, then they end up suing you, and you're gonna have cost more.
You have to give it to them because you haven't defined it.
Right. It's lazy government and power hungry government.
Thanks for checking out that clip from the Restore GT podcast.
For our full episodes, you can check us out at restoregT.com, or you can find us on YouTube at Restore Glowtwip. GLOTWP. Yep.
See you soon, folks.